Did you ever hear the story that when Golda Meir, who was then president, or prime minister, I should say, of Eretz Israel, she was complaining to Nixon, I think it was at the time, how difficult the life she has, difficult the position she has. And Nixon looked at her and says, "You're complaining? How do you compare yourself to me? I have reasons to complain. I have 250 million citizens. You barely have 3 million citizens. What are you complaining about, Mrs. Meir?" So before I give you the answer, what he responded, let us first say some Tehillim, because it's a fascinating little conversation. But Tehillim comes first. Chapter 100, Mizmor l'Soy Doril Adonai Kol Haaretz Ivdos Adonai B'Simcha Boi Lefonav V'Nono Du'u Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Hu Asad V'Lo Enach Nama V'Tzay Marisoi Boi Yishar B'Soy Dechatzroiso B'Silo Hoida Levach Shemoi Kitoi V'Adonai L'Olam Chazdoi V'Adoir V'Doir Emun Asoi. That was chapter 100. And now, some tzedakah, my dear friends, some charity. For all of Klal Yisrael, wherever we are, wherever, and I say we, because we are one. And if we forget it, the world reminds us. So going back to my little story, so Golda Meir is complaining to Nixon, she has life so complicated, so difficult. What a job she has, and Nixon laughs at her. I mean, excuse me, lady, you should be embarrassed saying that. I have what to kvetch about. I have 250 million citizens. You barely have 3 million. Says, no, Mr. President, you don't get it. You have 250 million citizens. I have 3 million presidents. No comparison. And she is so right. Why am I saying this? We find something most peculiar. In the beginning of the parasha of this week, Parashas Mishpatim, we just coming last week, we received the Torah, we received the Ten Commandments. Now the Torah starts telling us, now that you got the Torah, you got the Ten Commandments, let me give you a list of what this entails, what it is that you're expected to do and not to do. And it says, Ve'ela mishpatim asher tasim lifneim. These are the laws. These are the commandments that you, Moshe Rabbeinu, should set before them. In other words, starting to teach the Jewish people the 630 commandments. What does it start with? What would you expect should be the first one? First, most important mitzvah. Short of Bagel Lax on Sunday. But on a serious note, what would be the most important mitzvah that one would think that God is going to tell us? Maybe about Yom Kippur. Not a holiday. Shabbat. Kosher food. No. What is it all about? Kisikne eved ivri, if you will acquire for yourself a slave, a Jewish slave, sheishonim yavoid, 6 years is all the maximum that you can work for. On the 7th, goes free. Then if he wants to stay on longer, then there's a whole procedure. You have to bore his ear, and then also not forever. Only up to Yovel, the Jubilee, maximum, a total 49 years. Is this the first and most important mitzvah that the Torah is commanding us after receiving the Ten Commandments? What's the idea? The idea is as following. Mishnah says in Pirkei Avot, every day of the year, there's a heavenly voice, says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, that a heavenly voice comes forth from Mount Chorev, the mountain that we received the Torah. And it says, Oy lehem labriyos mel boine shel Torah. Who unto mankind for their contempt towards Torah. Shekol mi she'ein oisik b'Torah nikra nozuf. Anybody who is not preoccupied with the study of Torah is rebuked. And then he continues. The lucha is ma'iselekim hemo. The lucha is the tablets with God's inscription. Chorus, he says. Don't call it chorus. Engraved, but call it cherus. Freedom. Who is considered a free person? The one who's preoccupied with his study, lives Torah. Says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, there's a heavenly voice that tells us, what is life all about? How should we be living? Now that we received the Ten Commandments, we're starting out as a nation, as a free nation. What is a free nation? Freed from the slavery of Egypt? When we become servants to Hashem, and we do not become servants and subservient to humans. If we become a servant to human, whoever it is, the most wonderful boss you can only have. It could be a contractor, it could be an employee, but not a servant. A servant we should be only to God. Then we are free. That's the Jewish DNA. And that's what the Torah starts off with. When we live like this, we'll be able to fulfill all the mitzvahs. But this has to be the first concept, that this is our reality. Golda Meir was right. Yes, we are not regular servants. We're all presidents. Now these presidents deserved already to be with Mashiach in the Beis HaMikdash.